Life has been kind of a mess. From trauma to post-traumatic stress disorder, anxiety and depression, I've seen a lot. So this topic is as much relevant to me as it is about teaching you guys. To start from the very, very beginning, rock bottom. Rock bottom is something that is very individualistic and hard to define. So I like to think of it as analogous to the symptoms of depression. These include insomnia versus hypersomnia, weight gain versus weight loss. These are all very different manifestations of the same thing, and they're all valid. So trying to figure out how to get out of rock bottom is something that I've struggled with various times in my life. And one of the things that I do to figure that out is interview people. And one of the best pieces of advice that I got was from my friend Mohammed, and he told me to count to 10. If you can make it through the next 10 seconds, you can probably make it through the next 10 seconds, and the 10 seconds after that. And pretty soon, you'll be tired of counting, and you'll go back to living your life. Now, getting through rock bottom is important, but you also have to learn to reflect on rock bottom. Why? Well, this is best described by an article that Keith Cox and Dan McAdams published in the Journal of Research and Personality in 2014. They said that positive reflection on painful experiences shows good emotional regulation in the future. This is important because when something else negative happens in the future, you're better equipped to handle it. This is also applicable to education. In 2012, Matthew Lemberger and his associates published an article in the Journal of Counseling and Development which showed that reflection on education and the way you learn shows better executive function, which is correlated with academic achievement. So whether or not your low point is emotional or academic, reflection is vitally important. Some tips on how to use metacognition include writing down your processes so that you can reflect on them later, and I know that's really painful to read your journals, but it's important. To talk about this stuff with your teachers or your peers, and then also to reflect on your own. In 2016, Sherry Hamby and her associates published an article in the Psychology of Violence which showed that connectedness and communication with your peers is important to healing. It gives you a different perspective because a lot of times when we reflect on our own, we drive ourselves into these faulty reasonings. Now, finally, how to put yourself as a priority. Probably the most important part about putting yourself as a priority is the definition. Putting yourself as a priority is not doing what immediately feels good or what distracts you from your problems. It's laying everything out on the table and doing what is ultimately best for you. However, we all mess up, and I think that's also a very constructive way to put yourself as a priority, to reflect on your mistakes and then build them back up and figure out a way to solve problems in the future. This is also connected to balance. When it comes to putting yourself as a priority, you don't want to be dependent on other people, but you also want to not isolate yourself. You also don't want to try to create meaning out of things that are probably meaningless, and so you have to learn to sometimes just let it be. So now, as you guys go off into the world, I want to challenge you to ask yourself this question. What are the ways in which you are kind to yourself? And if you're anything like me, you'll probably write down 2 or 3 things, get kind of disappointed, and then never look at it again. But I encourage you to ask other people and add to your list so that in the coming days and weeks, you can add these little tasks into your life so you can put yourself as a priority. Thank you.